Star Wars, a franchise that's been milked to death by Michael Rat so much that Order 66 pales in comparison to the massacre this rat has done. Video games, movies, TV shows, toys, any form of media or merchandise that can be damned by Disney will be damned by Disney. However, we're just gonna talk about the video game side of things. Out of all the Star Wars games over the years, Knights of the Old Republic, Republic Commando, The Force Unleashed, the LEGO series, Star Wars Connect. The Battlefront series was one of the peaks when it came down to Star Wars video games. From the very beginning of the series, for better and for the unfortunate worse, people have stuck with this series for years. Now, with there being 2 iterations of Battlefront, I'll break this up into 2 sections: the classic era and the EA era, aka a series of unfortunate events. With childhood video games, it'll either age like a fine wine or they'll just age like milk. Thankfully, the classic Battlefront games aged fairly well and are still fun to play through years later. Battlefront 2 was the first one that I played, and I didn't play Battlefront 1 until recently, yet I ended up liking Battlefront 1 more than I did Battlefront 2. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the Kruskin mission, where you need to kill off these Jedi that just keep on spawning out of nowhere that can kill you in one hit, where the only reason I was able to beat this mission was because of a tactical suicide bomb. Battlefront 1 didn't have the shitty Kruskin mission, so it's already better than the sequel, though there is that one Yavin mission. It's really just the small differences that I prefer in Battlefront 1 over Battlefront 2. The loading screen animation showing where you'll dispatch dummy thick stormtroopers, copyrighted music. It's just the very minute things that I prefer in the first one. Sure, Battlefront 2 has Gremlin Yoda and Gatling Trooper Go, but other than those 2 things, it's just a slightly better looking Battlefront 1. Objectives changed from solely capturing control points, and instead you can protect bookcases, get spawn camped, and locate Leia as if you're looking for Jason from Heavy Rain. Jason! There is one thing that they have in common though. The AI is fucking broken, and I mean that in both ways. You can have instances where AI will kill you instantly after turning a corner. If you rush them, you die. Or if you decide to take it slow and not rush them, they'll rush you, and then you die. Now, on the other hand, yeah, I don't get it either. The worst thing about these games would be the space battles. Space battles are just terrible, and if you enjoy them, whether it's classic or EA, you're a sociopath. It feels like I'm piloting a dump truck of a spaceship, and the AI seem even more broken in space battles. The objectives aren't anything to be super excited about. You're either shooting a certain part of the ship, you're getting shot down instantly, or this. These games were the stepping stone for the series. Sure, it might have had some broken AI and some bullshit missions, but the games are still fun. After playing through both of these games, it's not nostalgia talking when I say that these games are good. The campaign is subpar since it's just telling the story of the first few episodes, so if you haven't watched the movies and you want a basic understanding of them, just play the classic Battlefront games. Naturally, with the Battlefront series having people that absolutely loved these 2 games, the announcement for a new Battlefront series but with next-gen graphics warranted tons of excitement. There's just one problem. EA happened. From microtransactions to unbalanced gameplay, the EA era of Battlefront wasn't looking so hot. All things considered, Battlefront 1 wasn't really all that bad if you think about it. I mean, sure, the heroes and villains were broken, the melee worked as well as my sleep schedule. It didn't. Personal shield existed, a pointless diorama section, heroes and villains were broken, orbital strikes unfortunately existed, Bosk. The point is, the game didn't really have much going for it, unless you really enjoyed being stuck in a corner getting gassed by Bosk while Old Man Withers twirls around throwing lightning, or absolutely kicking the enemy team's shit in. When you had a chance to play the game, it was genuinely fun. Those games where the enemy team Vader went 100-0 sucked immensely, since they know how to use their villain, and not just run into 10 people then just die. You'll get a Vader on your team that dies instantly, while the enemy team has the real Vader on their team. It just be like that sometimes. Unsurprisingly enough, not many people play this one anymore, so I ended up playing against AI for all of these clips, which makes me sad, since I genuinely enjoyed playing Battlefront 1, at least when there wasn't a Bosk on the enemy team. The gameplay was unbalanced as hell, melee barely worked, Bosk existed, and the main menu screen is this bright white light with the intention of blinding us from EA's bullshit. However, However, I still found the experience fun. Then Battlefront 2 happened.
Wait, what about the campaign?
The what?
The campaign.
Oh, the campaign. After the success of Battlefront 1, of course, they started production on Battlefront 2. Now, surely they'd take the feedback they got from the community and fix their shitty work practices. No, they didn't. Here, let's watch this clip together.
More credits available in 3 hours. More credits available in 3 hours. We're sorry, you were enjoying arcade mode too much, so we have to stop giving you prizes. I'm sorry. Were you enjoying arcade mode? Because you have to wait 3 hours now to get more credits out of arcade mode.
A sense of pride and accomplishment. I don't think withholding in-game currency behind a time limit is a good depiction of having players feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. How about grinding for God knows how long to get one hero or villain character? Would that fill someone with the sense of pride and accomplishment? One bad Reddit post and 60k downvotes later, EA took down their microtransactions. They brought it back again, but eventually took it back down. With the removal of microtransactions entirely, they also made it easier to get credits so the grind wasn't so monotonous. Having the ability to purchase star cards through microtransactions didn't make the experience fun when you could just spend money, have fully upgraded star cards, and proceed to do better simply because you spent money. Alongside the shitty microtransactions, EA still doesn't know how to balance characters whatsoever. The heroes and villains are damn near unkillable. They kill you and your team and then run away scot-free and heal back up all that damage you barely did to them. You can't outrun them, you can't fight them head to head. It feels like the Krusket mission all over again, just much more pain. Tauntauns are annoying, getting sniped from across the map is frustrating, strangely enough getting targeted by fighters. Guess I'm getting gassed again. There's a reason why I'm bitching about EA Battlefront 2's shitty launch. 4 years later, and Battlefront has gone through its character development, its own redemption arc. To everyone's surprise, after what happened with Battlefront launch, the game finally got good. It became a good game. Microtransactions no longer have a place in the game. They kept their promise and kept on adding free content. Overall, it just feels like a completely different game. Though this redemption arc was seriously necessary for the game, the player base decreased, understandably so, thanks to the horrid launch day and microtransaction issues, but there are still enough players to warrant playing it every now and then. There are still some balancing issues with heroes, villains, and certain blasters. It's definitely bearable, but why did they add in Ewoks? Do I still get run down by heroes and villains? Most definitely. Do I still get targeted by fighters? Oddly enough, yes. Is my aim garbage? Absolutely. But the current Battlefront 2 is by far my favorite Battlefront game. The one-sided games are painful to sit through, but once you get those games where both teams are on equal footing, that's where the fun really sets in. Unless it's Conquest, where it's just a constant back and forth that feels like it'll never end, those are just extremely tiring. 25 free content updates later, they finally made the game good and practically saved it from that launch day mess. Of course, the best way to celebrate this is by going out to get milk. However, the devs went out for milk after the Scariff update, which is back in April 2020, so we haven't heard from them since. Did you know there's a derogatory term for droids that we can use?
Plank to destroy!